Have you ever wondered about the most resilient creature on Earth? Well, buckle up because we're diving into the world of tardigrades, tiny yet mighty creatures that could give superheroes a run for their money. These fascinating critters, also known as water bears or moss piglets, are microscopic animals that call the water droplets in mosses and lichens their home. Despite their small size, just about 1 millimeter long, tardigrades are world champions when it comes to survival. They can withstand conditions that would be lethal to most life forms. From the vacuum of outer space, the extreme depths of the world's oceans, to temperatures hotter than boiling water and colder than the Arctic, these water bears can handle it all. With their 8-legged bodies and alien-like appearance, they've been intriguing scientists for over 2 centuries. Now that you have a glimpse of what tardigrades are, you might be wondering, how do they survive in such extreme conditions? That's what we're going to explore next. It's hard to believe, isn't it? A creature that can survive in the vacuum of space, withstand temperatures as low as -272.15 degrees Celsius and as high as 150 degrees Celsius. Yes, we're talking about the extraordinary tardigrades. When it comes to survival, these tiny creatures, also known as water bears or moss piglets, are truly the masters of the game. They've been found in the most inhospitable places on Earth, from the deep sea to the high Himalayas, and even in the barren landscapes of Antarctica. Yet they thrive, demonstrating resilience that's nothing short of awe-inspiring. So how do they do it? Well, one of their secret weapons is a state known as cryptobiosis. When conditions get tough, tardigrades can essentially dry themselves out, reducing their body water content to a mere 1%. In this dehydrated state, their metabolic functions slow down to a near standstill, 0.01% of normal to be precise. This allows them to endure conditions that would be lethal to most other forms of life. And it's not just the extreme temperatures or lack of water they can endure. Tardigrades have been known to survive without food or water for more than 30 years. Imagine 3 decades without a snack or a sip. That's a diet plan even the most dedicated fitness enthusiasts would balk at. But the survival skills of tardigrades don't stop at cryptobiosis. They can also endure high levels of radiation, withstand immense pressure, both high and low, and even survive in the vacuum of space. Yes, you heard it right, space. In fact, tardigrades are the only known animal to have survived after exposure to outer space. These survival skills make tardigrades one of the most fascinating creatures to study. But did you know they also have some other interesting features? Beyond their survival skills, tardigrades are also unique in several other ways. Diving right into the peculiarities, let's start with how these microscopic marvels look. Tardigrades, often called water bears or moss piglets, have a distinctive appearance. They are tiny, with bodies usually no longer than 1 millimeter. Despite their size, they're not lacking in character, sporting 8 legs, each equipped with claws. And their faces? They've got a round, almost bear-like head with a mouth that can pierce plant cells or animal body walls. A bit shocking for such a tiny creature, isn't it? Now, let's talk about reproduction. Tardigrades have a few methods up their sleeves. Some species are dioecious, meaning they have separate male and female individuals. Others are hermaphroditic, possessing both male and female reproductive organs. They lay eggs, which are often left in the shed cuticle of the parent. In some cases, these eggs can even survive extreme conditions, just like the adults. What's more, these creatures have a unique ability to repair their own DNA. Yes, you heard it right. After being exposed to damaging conditions, tardigrades can mend their DNA as they rehydrate. This feature is one of the factors that contribute to their incredible resilience. And before we wrap up, it's worth noting that despite their small size, tardigrades have a surprisingly complex nervous system. They have a brain and a large nerve cord running down their body, with nerves extending into each leg. This allows them to perform relatively complex movements and behaviors. These features make tardigrades not just resilient, but also a creature definitely worth exploring. So, how can we find and observe these fascinating creatures? If you're as intrigued by tardigrades as we are, you might be wondering, how can we find and observe these creatures? Well, let's delve into the exciting process of finding and observing these microscopic marvels. Tardigrades, also known as water bears or moss piglets, are surprisingly ubiquitous. They can be found virtually anywhere on Earth, from the deepest trenches of the ocean to the highest peaks of mountains, and even in some of the harshest climates. But the good news is, you don't have to go on an arduous expedition to find them. The easiest place to spot these little creatures is closer than you might think, in a patch of moss or lichen. Yes, you heard that right. These tiny extremophiles love to hang out in damp moss or lichen, so next time you're out for a walk, keep an eye out for a mossy patch on a tree or a rock, or even on the ground. Lichen-covered trees and rocks are also excellent hunting grounds. Now, let's get into the specifics of how to collect a sample. First, you'll need to gather some moss or lichen, ideally after a rainfall when it's nice and damp. Using a pair of tweezers or a small spade, take a small sample and place it in a container with some water. The water will rehydrate the tardigrades, coaxing them out of their dormant state. After letting the sample soak for a few hours or overnight, it's time to observe your potential tardigrade habitat. This is where a microscope comes into play. Place a small amount of the water-soaked moss or lichen on a microscope slide and get ready for the magic. Under the microscope, you'll be able to see the tardigrades in all their glory, lumbering around like tiny bears. Remember to handle your samples gently and return them to their natural habitat after observation. After all, we're visitors in their world. With these tips, you're now ready to embark on your own adventure to explore the thrilling world of tardigrades. Remember, the most resilient creature on Earth might just be under your footstep. As we wrap up our journey exploring the extraordinary world of tardigrades, let's take a moment to appreciate these tiny yet mighty creatures. We've delved into their exceptional survival skills, fascinating features, and even how to find them in our own backyard. So why not hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more adventures into the intriguing corners of science. So next time you take a walk in the park or hike up a mountain, remember, the world's most resilient creature might just be under your footstep. Until next time, keep exploring.